Welcome to Talmudic Treasures. Today we're learning Yevamot page 63, which continues to discuss the importance of finding a proper wife, proper husband. And in fact, the Talmud tells us that by doing so, it will increase joy in your life. It could even double your years, which means that you'll be so happy in your relationship that you will feel so good that it will feel like you're alive, double alive. And the question is, how much effort, if any, in the times of the Talmud did people take in order to be able to find their spouse? So there's a misunderstanding that when it came to Jewish marriages, people would just marry people without much forethought, without thinking about what they're doing. And the Talmud here clearly says that's not the situation. It says, for example, when it comes to buying property, buying land, because land was such a valuable thing, if you had the opportunity to do so, you should do it immediately without much thought because you know it's going to be in your best interest. However, the Talmud says when it comes to finding a spouse, you should be deliberate, you should wait, you should investigate, get to know this woman, the woman should get to know the man, to make sure that his and her actions are in line and that you actually are going to be compatible with one another. And then only afterwards you should contemplate getting married. Because there are times that unfortunately marriages are difficult. And the Talmud here discusses some sages that the husband and wife didn't always get along all the time. In fact, it's brought down when it came to Rav, he used to ask his wife for a particular dish, for lentils, and she would instead give him legumes. Whenever he would ask for legumes, she would give him lentils. So there was certain times that they didn't always get along. And the Talmud tells us something very fascinating about Rabbi, who also had certain struggles in his relationship. But instead of letting him get upset about it, instead of him reacting negatively, the Talmud here tells us that whenever he would see something that he knew that his wife would appreciate, would like, he would go and get it, and he would actually wrap it up in a handkerchief, which is similar to us wrapping up a present, and he would give it to her, and obviously she would open up and be surprised, and it would make her happy. So they asked him, they said, I don't understand. She's clearly someone who is not always nice to you, and this relationship doesn't seem to be one that really would be deserving that you should be giving gifts. So he says, you don't understand. Even though it's true, maybe there's certain things that aren't perfect in my relationship, it's enough, says the Talmud, Dayenu, it's enough, Shemigados Banenu, that she helps raise our children. My children are with her. She's the mother of my children, and she does a beautiful job raising my children. And also, Matzilos Osanu Menachet. Also, she acts as a wife. We have marital relations with one another. We are husband and wife. And because of that, that is enough, which to me is an unbelievable thought process, because so many times in life, we, not just in our interpersonal relationships, but in everything, we think of what we don't have. And we don't always show appreciation and gratitude for what we do have in our lives. What Rabbi is teaching us is when it comes to marriage, when it comes to anything, you could look at things as, she doesn't do this, she doesn't do that. But instead he says, you know what? What she does is enough for me to be able to show my gratitude and appreciation for her. And even though it's true, she may not be perfect, maybe he also wasn't perfect, it's not so clear from the text in his reactions, but it's pretty clear from the text that how he dealt with the situation was a very positive one. Instead of getting upset that things were not perfect in his relationship, he was able to focus on the good things. He was able to focus on her positive qualities. And if we're able to do that, instead of looking at one little small detail, we find this constantly when it comes to even dating. Oh, I didn't want to date him because the way he ordered the food, the way that he texted me. Small little things we gravitate toward and say, oh, therefore it's off the table, or no longer interested in this relationship. Instead, we have to look in a more positive lens, just like Rabbi did. And if we did, perhaps we'll be able to improve all of our relationships.